Hello, everyone. I am Ken Lin, founder and CEO of Credit Karma. So to start today, I thought I'd talk about where Credit Karma is, right? And despite all the macro level headwinds that we've seen, the good news is that engagement on Credit Karma remains strong, and you can see that in our all-time high fiscal 23 number of engagement. And at the same time, when you look at our 3-year CAGR, it's at 25%, which is really in line with our long-term growth expectations. Now, despite all that has been happening in the macro level economy, we have always been focused on our growth in product because it ultimately drives our revenue and our innovation. And just to touch on a couple of items of the progress that we've made over the course of the last year, we'll talk a little bit about Credit Karma Guarantee, right? Which is really the consumer-facing front end of our Lightbox platform. So we are so confident in our Lightbox platform that we're willing to stand behind that fact that you will be approved for a particular offer, or we're going to pay you $50. So we saw revenues grow from that platform over 900% in the last year. Just to touch on one other area, Credit Karma Money, which is really a checking and savings account designed for consumers who are new to credit. We saw revenues grow 136% year over year. Now, one of the questions I got during the break was, why am I here? And my answer is, I'm here for this, right? There are millions of consumers who struggle with their finances. And this is an important aspect of what we do each and every day. And just to give you a few statistics, nearly 70% of consumers are living paycheck to paycheck. 68% of consumers are actually worried about having enough money in their savings based on the fact that inflation is going up and it's hard to actually manage all of that. And we also see that 71% of consumers are very much worried about this idea that they're not going to have enough money for retirement, right? Those are the reasons why I am here. This is the reasons why Credit Karma exists, which really leads to the vision statement of what we do at Credit Karma, right? Our goal is to have a comprehensive, self-driving financial platform that meets and propels their members wherever they are. So what does that mean? Well, it means that members will finally understand really the overview of their financial landscape. That's really important. We saw a little bit of it in our pie demonstration up there in terms of, we also want to help our members make smart financial decisions. And then lastly, how do we keep them on that path, right? How do we ensure that it's not a one-moment time, but that it's something that they can do over the course of their lifetime? So that is the vision of Credit Karma. Now, how do we do these things, right? Well, we do it through a combination of data, scale, and trust, which really drive our AI platform. So just to give you a couple of data points, right? We have 136 million members on our platform. We have about 60,000 financial attributes per consumer. And we see over $9 trillion worth of consumer debt. So we know how much a consumer owes, we know at what interest rate they owe, we know the last time they applied for a financial services product. Really powerful information. Now, this is the Credit Karma ecosystem. What matters here is we use the same data that the financial services company uses. And this really solves 3 important consumer points for our members: transparency, simplicity, and certainty, right? So on the certainty front, if you are a consumer with low credit, you don't know which products you're qualified for. That is a big problem, because when you apply for a product and you're declined, your credit score goes down, and you have a lower probability of getting your next credit product, right? Next is the idea of transparency. Well, it's really hard to compare products, particularly when you don't know which ones you're going to be qualified for. And thirdly, we want to simplify the process. So with products and the data that we have, you could literally apply for a product in 2 clicks without ever leaving the site. And that solves a lot of the challenges and really hints at how we solve the vision statement, right? And the problem statement for our consumers. Now, why do our partners rely on Credit Karma, and what makes us someone that is indispensable in the industry? Well, first is scale. So you think about our partners are some of the largest financial services companies out there, and they need inordinate amounts of scale to drive their business. So with 136 million members on our platform, 42 million members who come back each and every month, more than 5 times on average, we're able to drive scale. Secondarily is the quality and the efficiency we're able to drive, right? So if you think about what a financial services company does, they care about a specific type of customer coming to their site. Well, oftentimes that specific characteristic is a function of our financial profile. And by virtue of the fact that we have over 60,000 attributes on our members, we can drive efficiency. And then lastly is product innovation. So when you've heard some of it, you saw some of it upstairs in the pie demonstration. But the things that we're doing with Easy Apply, Lightbox, Credit Karma Money, those are all innovations in this space that our banking partners are looking to us to continue to innovate. And more importantly, our members are looking at us to innovate and bring the products and the industry forward. Now, let's talk about our Proto Roadmap and really the 5 key areas that we are going to continue to innovate on, double down on, and continue to drive growth, right? It's engagement, it's Intuit Assist, it's Prime, it's Lightbox, and then and lastly, it's the notion that we can work better together across the Intuit platform. So first, let me start with engagement. And the key here is engagement drives revenue for Credit Karma. So as a result of that, we are reimagining our experience at Credit Karma. We're redesigning the app so that we can actually provide more context to each of our members so that they can use things like Karma Drive, Credit Karma Money, leverage the Lightbox platform that we have. And just to leave you with one quick fact, our members who use more than just one product on our site, they're 3.5 times less likely to attrite, and they are 4 times more profitable on a revenue basis, right? So really important facts when you think about engagement on Credit Karma overall. You've heard quite a bit about Intuit Assist and Gen AI today, but what it means for our members is that we're able to solve some of the biggest problems for them in a way that is contextualized and actually actionable. So let me give you a couple examples of why this is so important and how we actually differentiate ourselves from everyone else in the space in Gen AI. If you go to a Gen AI platform today and you ask, how do I improve my credit score? What you'll generally get is a very generic answer. Pay your bills on time, don't take out too much debt. But what we're able to do with our data and our capabilities is we're able to give you a precise roadmap that is tailored to each and every person in this audience because we actually know your credit report. We actually know the specifics about you, and that's important. The second piece is really our capabilities, right? So in addition to having the personalization, our money movement capabilities, our ability to build Lightbox to determine which products you're actually eligible for, that makes a huge difference. And then when you think about doing on your behalf, we can do that, right? So it's not just the build me the roadmap, but actually execute the roadmap on my behalf. And I think that's one of the fundamental challenges which keeps most consumers sort of from being everything they can be. It's because it's hard to do those things, and when you can automate them through both the data, the capabilities, and the AI platform that we are creating, that's the differentiation in the space. Next is really our ability to focus on new opportunities. So I'll give you one right now, which is our Prime segment. So our Prime segment are consumers who are 720 plus, not to stereotype maybe some of the people in this room, but the key here is, off-platform, 39% of originations happen in the Prime segment. On Credit Karma today, it's about 15%. What's important about that is there's a lot of headroom. But if you also understand the market, you also realize that Prime members and Prime products generate roughly 75% more revenue. So it's a big opportunity for Credit Karma growth. Next is Lightbox, and I'm sure you've heard a lot about Lightbox, but I really want to double click into what is Lightbox and why it's so powerful, right? So Lightbox is our platform that allows us to mirror the underwriting guidelines and requirements of our banking partners. And why that is important is that it has gotten very complicated to determine eligibility for products. Banks use hundreds, if not thousands, of variables. They use sophisticated algorithms to determine whether or not you are going to be qualified for a product. So if we have a mirror or an example of how that works, we are able to say with certainty that you are likely to be approved for a product. And again, that matters for a vast majority of consumers. So for our consumers, they have certainty in the products that they are going to see, that they are going to get the product that they will be approved for. And for our partners, it means that they're going to get a more efficient consumer, one that doesn't call because they've been declined, one that doesn't lower their NPS because they don't like the fact that they've been declined, right? So it's really a win-win situation. And on that front, we think about it in a few dimensions. First is we're going to continue to add new partners to the Lightbox platform. So big banks are sometimes known to be notoriously slow in their adoption of technology, but this is one where we're going to continue to onboard new partners onto our site. And the second piece is we're going to move Lightbox into new categories. So if you think about things like auto refinance, auto purchase, and other loan types, the platform itself is extendable. So we can do more than just the credit cards and the personal loans today. And third is this idea that it's important for us to think about what are the extensions of Lightbox, right? So Easy Apply, which is the 1 or 2 click approval process, Karma Guarantee, which is the guarantee that you will be approved. So those are all extensions that we're going to continue to invest in as we think about the platform. And last but certainly not least is really better together and leveraging the ecosystem, right? We have a very simple goal here, right? Every Credit Karma member should be a TurboTax user, and every TurboTax user should be a Credit Karma member. And when you think about the problem statements and what consumers are looking for, it's the same consumer, it's the same problem. So it makes intuitive sense. Now, when we think about Credit Karma helping TurboTax, well, we have 136 million members on our platform. We have the ability to drive adoption within the TurboTax base, and just in fiscal year 23, we actually saw a 6x increase in the number of Credit Karma members using TurboTax. And at the same time, it is TurboTax driving Credit Karma, right? So if you think about the fact that there is over $100 billion worth of tax refunds each year on the TurboTax platform, those are dollars that could be going into Credit Karma money. Now, when you think about the TAM, well, you put all these pieces together, it's really exciting. It's really the opportunity that we have here. So in our core business, there's a $17 billion TAM that is credit cards and personal loans, and we have less than 8% of originations in that space. When you think about our growth verticals, which is auto and mortgage, that's a $36 billion TAM, and we have less than 1% originations in that space. And then when you think about our emerging verticals, which are things like Credit Karma Money, we're just getting started. So I've said a lot here, so I'm going to try to summarize it in 5 key points. So first is innovation is really the driver of growth at Credit Karma. So things like Lightbox, things like Karma Drive, things like Credit Karma Money. Secondarily is the platform is differentiated. Our scale, our trust, our engagement, our AI capabilities, those are important aspects of how we're able to deliver and also differentiate from a platform perspective. And lastly is the ecosystem, right? So when you think about the fact that the ecosystem between Credit Karma, QuickBooks, TurboTax, they're all consumers, right? And that data, that flow of information, those capabilities, they're somewhat fungible and they help us grow. And then lastly is the market opportunity that we have. We're just beginning to touch on some of these early topics. So with all of that said, and the summary of all of that is when you take a look at the opportunities in the roadmap is that we feel extremely confident that we'll be able to focus on our long-term expectation growth rate of 20 to 25% in revenue. So with that said, thank you so much for your time.